It's Wednesday, the 3rd of November 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Morning, Michael.
5 stories in 5 minutes. Here we go. It was, Sean, the most anticipated Reserve Bank board meeting in a long time yesterday. There were expectations that the central bank would begin its move to tighten monetary policy, and it actually happened.
Well, yes, the Reserve Bank fired the starting gun. It said it would stop targeting the April 24 bond rate, which actually means it's stopping trying to keep a lid on 3-year bond yields, which flow through to fixed lending rates. Now, the reason is because inflation is just a touch higher than the Reserve Bank thought it would be. But this race, Michael, is a marathon, definitely not a sprint. The official cash rate is unchanged at 0.1%, and the central bank isn't giving too much away, saying conditions were unlikely to be right for a rate rise until at least the end of 2023. Now, the bank was pretty upbeat about the local economy, saying it was recovering from the Delta outbreak and businesses were hiring again. It expects growth this year of about 3.5% and 5.5% next year. That's pretty good. And while inflation has picked up, it's still low and lower than many other parts of the world. Just worth noting, the Reserve Bank welcomed the prudential regulator's recent decision to increase the interest rate serviceability buffer on home loans. What that means is that the bank is somewhat worried about house prices. Bottom line, all in all though, interest rates aren't moving anytime soon, according to the Reserve Bank.
Okay, big story for story number 1. On to number 2 though. The United Nations Climate Change Summit in Glasgow got off to a bit of a rocky start, but it seems to be picking up some momentum.
Yeah, it was a tough start over the weekend. Some of the big emitters refused to agree to phase out coal-fired power stations. Brazil and Russia have been a bit reticent about making commitments. China's President Xi Jinping isn't even there. However, yesterday there was some momentum for change. Nations that represent 85% of the world's forests, including Brazil and Indonesia, have committed to halting and reversing deforestation by 2030. Now, forests absorb about 30% of carbon dioxide emissions. That is a big concession for those guys. India, one of the globe's biggest emitters, has committed to carbon neutrality by 2070. There were some private foundations putting some huge amounts of money to help poorer nations. And of course, Queen Elizabeth II urged world leaders to rise above the politics of the moment. She said she hoped leaders could work together for the sake of future generations.
Okay, on to story number 3 and some good news for the people of New South Wales. The state is heading back to normality after Premier Dominic Perrottet brought forward freedoms for fully vaccinated people.
He sure did. From Monday, dancing is back. I know you love that one. There's no limits to the number of visitors at home. There'll be no rules for gatherings of fewer than 1,000 people outside. Businesses can move to 1 person per 2 square metres, and capacity settings will be removed for major outdoor facilities, things like stadiums and zoos and racecourses, all those sorts of things. Work from home rules are also under review. However, Michael, it's bad news if you're not vaccinated. Only when the vaccination rate gets to 95% or on December 15, whichever comes first, will unvaccinated people be allowed normal freedoms. The current vaccination rate in New South Wales is 88% and 94% have had 1 dose. 95% is also the point when you can stop wearing masks on public transport and in shopping centres.
Okay, on to story number 4, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one, Sean. Goodman Group has upped its profit forecast for this financial year, capping a pretty remarkable run since the COVID pandemic. Its share price was up more than 6% yesterday.
Yeah, it's the 11th largest company in the country, a touch smaller than Telstra, but bigger than Fortescue or Transurban or Afterpay or Coles, which we talk about all the time. Its share price has steadily climbed over the past decade, though COVID supercharged the run. Goodman mostly buys and sells industrial real estate, which in an e-commerce world where people need storage and distribution centres is a great sector to be in. It's got what real estate investment trusts want: high occupancy rates, strong rental growth, solid investor appetite. It's done really well and it upped its profit forecast yesterday as a result.
Okay, on to story number 5. You've saved the best for last. I reckon it's been at least 2 weeks since you last mentioned Elon Musk's name, but the Musk drought ends now.
Yes, I have missed the boss of Tesla. According to Bloomberg, Mr. Musk's wealth is now 3 times bigger than the greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett. That's on the back of the incredible surge in Tesla's share price. And if you want that in numbers, Mr. Musk is worth about 335 billion US dollars, and Mr. Buffett is 104 billion US dollars. Just as an aside, Mr. Musk is now worth about 143 billion US dollars more than the world's second richest person, Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame.
That is extraordinary. That is the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thanks, Michael.
It's Wednesday, the 3rd of November, 2021. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't quite enough for you, then you can find our longer podcast called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform. You can always find more information at fearandgreed.com.au. You'll also find a stack of interviews and sign up for our free daily newsletter. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fear and Greed Business Headlines. Have a great day.